And I hope that you got what you wanted. You ripped my heart right out of me. I said with hard hands, I just couldn't understand how you couldn't shot one tear. How you couldn't shot one tear. How you couldn't shot one tear.
On today's pod, we talk Tiger King, and a little more Tiger King.
Not a lot's going on.
Let's get rocking.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
I award you no point.
Wow. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Hiya, and welcome to Pool Boy Radio. I'm Henry O'Shea, joined as always by the big man himself, Jack O'Shea.
That's me.
We are recording on Sunday, March 29th, quarantine day 17, I believe.
17?
I believe it's 17, yeah. Because we started 2 Fridays ago.
Holy shit. This is the new normal.
Yeah, it's kind of moving quickly. March, just kind of forgotten about. But don't have a lot to talk about. But we got Tiger King, which is that's a big story, Jack. It's kind of the story, a reporter wants to sink their teeth in.
It's all I've been like thinking about for the past so many days. I've rewatched because I realized the first way through, and actually I'll save Tiger King a little bit, but it's the new Netflix documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, make sure to check it out.
I think it's the most watched, talked about doc series I ever remember.
You know how every now and then Adam Sandler movie will release and Netflix will be like, actually this was the most viewed movie.
Yeah, they did it with Bird
had.
Box. They were like, yeah, Bird Box actually killed it. And it's like, no one watched that stupid movie.
But they just put it in front of you. They do all the selecting process. So they're really Netflix is trying really hard to get me to watch Spencer Confidential with Mark Wahlberg.
I have no interest in Spencer Confidential.
Yeah.
And I love Marky Mark.
Yeah.
That movie looks so terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really,
it just
really bad.
looks really bad. It's just like a really bad movie.
It looks like Mark Wahlberg tried to do an Adam Sandler movie. And guess what? Mark Wahlberg can't.
Yeah, he just always wants to kick ass. That's Mark's problem. No matter the movie, he's like, I need one scene where I'm, at least one. Preferably the whole movie I'm kicking ass. But, but Tiger King's interesting because we have some other stuff. We'll go through winners and losers, and there's a couple little things. But Tiger King is just the perfect mix of quarantine. A lot of people don't have cable anymore. You got this nutso story. And it involves tigers, and who doesn't love big cats? I didn't realize how much I love big cats.
I
halfway through, I was like, I kind of get these guys. Like, it's pretty sick.
That's what's interesting too is talking to different people about Tiger King of what are you supposed to get out of it.
Well, we'll talk biggest takeaways, biggest thoughts.
Because half the people though are literally like, yeah, what they're doing is terrible, and half the other people like me are like, free Joe. I get the urge to buy tigers. They seem awesome.
They seem pretty sick, and apparently you can just buy them.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
how
they're
anything
shockingly
works.
cheap. They cost less than a Vespa.
It's like $2,000-$3,000.
They cost less than I feel like some really high end dogs.
You want to take a flight to France, or do you want a tiger? Those are on the same.
I think
scale.
The upkeep is
for sure.
But, I mean, the upkeep for a Ferrari is a ton. And
I'm with you.
I would have a tiger before I'd have a Ferrari.
Me too. If you're someone who can own multiple cars, you're gonna buy another car. Have a fucking tiger. Why not? We'll get into Tiger King. We're going all the way through it, talking all things Tiger King. But we got the usual winners and losers stuff. So I'll start with my winner.
What's your winner?
Game of Thrones.
Why is Game of Thrones the winner?
I know, it's shocking. Because I was thinking about it, and then I looked it up, and I'm not the only one with this theory, so I don't want to take credit for it, even though I did think of it myself. George R.R. Martin, if not now, never. Finish your goddamn books.
True.
Finish your goddamn books.
I mean, not that I think he was much of an outdoor cat to begin with.
No. He was he had turtles. That was his whole thing. Turtle people are indoor people.
You can just sort of tell by his dress.
Everything. Yeah, everything.
The fact that he's still going with suspenders over belt.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he knows. He hasn't picked up a fashion mag in a while.
He doesn't know what's happening in the outside world.
Yeah.
He dresses like it's turn of the century.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes time.
Sherlock Holmes times. I have a feeling he thinks it might still be. I don't know. I also think, do you think he just has like a bad case of writer's block?
So here's my thing. So one, the dude's super old, so he especially can't go outside and do stuff. Mm-hmm. Two, I don't really know if he has any pre-existing conditions, but if he doesn't have pre-existing conditions, I don't know what are. Take one look at the guy.
True.
You know what I mean?
He needs to stay
He's
inside.
got something, so he needs to stay inside.
I mean, I'd be shocked if he doesn't have diabetes.
Writer's block.
I don't even know if that's offensive, but he clearly has diabetes.
The guy has something. Like, I mean, he doesn't look like a normal...
Dude, he has gout. Like, it'd be shocking if he doesn't have gout.
He looks like he's a Star Wars character.
Yes.
He looks like he's in the bar. He's at the tavern like, Uga Bashi, Dano, Han Solo.
Yes.
Yeah, you know?
Yes.
And then it's like, get out of here, pig-faced guy.
And he somehow still can't really grow facial hair despite being like 63, looking like he's
You're right, because I
85.
don't think he's shaving that pattern. I think that's just where it goes in.
It just doesn't fully grow.
It just grows. But a writer's block, in my mind, writer's block is more like a dialogue thing, where it's like, I know the princess is going to be saved by the prince, but, you know, what's his opening line kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of like writer's block is all the little stuff.
Yeah.
I speak for most Game of Thrones fans, I think. We don't give a fuck about the little stuff. Tell us how it ends.
Give us a brief outline.
Just big plot points.
Give us a brief outline.
Yeah, just skip over. I know I think what makes Game of Thrones awesome is all like the scenes that you're not sure if it matters or not, and then sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's like this whole one big game of Mafia. But dude, at a certain point, you're gonna die, man. Like I don't hope. I think he's a great dude. I'm happy. There's no ill will towards him, but it's like. We need to finish this, man. We can't have other people. We can't listen to what the show said, obviously.
Yeah.
And we can't have anyone else come try to do this. This is your story. Look what you take Star Wars out of George Lucas's hands and look at the dumpster fire 3 movies we just had.
You would be interesting would be if like what happened if George R.R. Martin dies. Which is funny. Is there a person that people are talking about their potential death more than George R.R. Martin?
It's him and the Queen.
Not 80.
Dude, it's like, literally him and the Queen.
He's like 63.
Yeah, him, the Queen, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are the only people that people are like. It's not a bad thing to talk. It's just like they're old and they're kind of saying we want them to live.
They're the people with like
that's why we talk about it.
Realistic death watches.
Yeah.
But it'd be funny if like Heath Ledger. When he died, he was in the that one movie where it wasn't like the Imaginary.
It was an odd movie. It sounded something like the Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
It's like Dr. Pernicious or whatever.
Yeah.
And
trying to figure out how to put this.
What they did. No, I'm fucking exhausted. We'll get to my loser, which we might go to right next because I have to explain why I'm so exhausted. But it would be interesting if like they did what he did, which was when Heath Ledger died, they had like Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Colin Farrell each take a third of the rest of the movie playing his character.
Whoa.
Do you remember that?
I never saw that movie.
I never saw it either, but they all played Heath Ledger's character. I don't know why those three.
Cool.
I think because those are the 3 where it's like, you guys kind of look like.
Enough. They're good-looking, talented guys.
But if they had like J.K. Rowling and Stephen King and like another writer, I don't know any other ones.
Oh, wow.
Each take like a third of the end of the book and
make it kind of a collab.
Like the Stephen King version of Game of Thrones where like there's no ending.
That would be pretty.
And it all turns out that it's like a haunted forest.
I was about to say that would be funny on multiple counts. It would be very obvious to tell which writer is writing which part. Because you got to stick with your guns. What worked, you're going to keep doing.
And you know which part J.K. Rowling
exactly.
wrote because afterwards you find out that character's gay. But it's not written in the text. But it's just you guys didn't pick up on the fact that like.
It was so obvious in the themes and the symbolism.
That character's pan.
How did you not figure that out?
Yeah.
That he's non-binary. Fucking finish these books, George. Let's get I still have like a slimmer. I think I'm a dreamer. I still have a slimmer of a hope that they're going to redo the last season at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way.
There's no way.
Right?
I think that they'll...
Not now. Later on.
I think they'll redo the full books. I think in like 5 years, they're going to be like, we're going to do the whole thing again.
That would be sick.
Shockingly soon, they're going like maybe Disney buys it and they're like, we're redoing the.
Yeah,
they've redone the Spider-Man.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is just so long and epic.
Yeah,
like I don't know if everyone's ever redone anything that's like 6 seasons of fucking. Like it's just a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, who's your winner?
Death Watches. So the reason why Death Watches are my winner. Henry,
wait, actually, like we were just talking about.
Yeah, I kind of spun it. I'm going with that.
We can go one winner. Or we can just keep on.
Well, no, my reason is Death Watch is just because on Twitter, every time somebody is trending.
Oh yeah,
it's like
Also, honestly,
did they get the Rona?
Anytime someone died, Kenny Rogers died last week.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck, Kenny Rogers, Corona took him, and it's like, no, he had pancreatic cancer or something. It was totally different.
I'm immediately looking, but a lot of celebrities are now starting to die
of Corona. Yeah, I know. This is like I feel like I can never tell. In quarantine, I'm losing my mind of like, I don't know if we talked about this on the pod last week or if this is just a conversation in our living room, but it's like, Corona's now serious enough. A couple weeks ago, it's like, I don't care if I get it. Like, and I wasn't out partying, but I was like, I don't really care. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get super sick from it.
I'm not worried about me getting it.
But now it's like, no, you shouldn't have. That's not the fucking problem.
No,
Johnny College.
Yeah.
You know, you going to the bar trying to get a phone number because you don't care if you get a cough. What about the bartender?
The bartender?
Yeah.
You said that funny.
The bartender, who's 75, and it's like, fuck, because like people are dying now. It's like super serious. And people told us this. This isn't a surprise.
No, I the other day I was in the shower, and this is the saddest our podcast will ever get, but I was like in the shower, and I was like, damn it, things are about to get really sad.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are about to die.
Yeah.
It's fucking...
I don't even want to get into the numbers, because it's literally like 100 I said I wasn't going to get into it.
It's crazy. Who's your loser?
Losers. I got 2 losers.
Who?
My first loser are people saying that old shows and movies predicted the coronavirus.
Yes.
We get it. We understand. It's a fun, clever thing.
That's why I want to write my book of prophecies.
When you see a show and anyone mentions anything about contagion, because believe it or not, coronavirus did not invent contagion, pandemic. This is not the first time this has ever happened. This is a thing.
Ever heard of SARS?
So, exactly. So I've seen The Office. The Simpsons is the only stuff. I like Simpsons future telling stuff because it's like The Simpsons are pinpoint. It'll be like Donald Trump running for president. No. In The Simpsons, they got him coming down an escalator announcing. Yeah. And then in real life, he's coming down an escalator. And like, holy shit. People are fucking sending me shit from Silicon Valley and The Office of like someone mentioning a flu.
Yeah.
No year, nothing specific. And it's like,
they got it.
They knew.
They knew it was going to happen.
Shut up and leave those. They were fun for a day or two, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't trying to think and look back and find my own. But we get it.
Well, that's why I'm gonna write my books of prophecies, where I basically
I'm starting to write down all your prophecies.
Yeah, write down my prophecies.
So last week, if you didn't listen to the pod last week, Jack said that he called coronavirus.
I did,
and I very much protested because he did not. In my recollection,
I didn't call coronavirus. I called the day when shit hit the fan. I went
after shit had already hit the fan.
It hadn't hit the fan. No, dude, it was. I'm not even kidding. It was that Thursday.
Yeah, it's when they canceled the NBA and they did everything.
But it was 9 a.m. that day. Nothing had happened. I swear to God, literally nothing had happened. It was like everybody's still testing stuff. And I called that day. I was like, shit's hitting the fan. And then by that night, it was like everything's canceled, and my work was like, and we're working from home.
But I
called it.
I got a funny call from Jack O'Brien saying he had listened to last week's, and then he listened to this week's, or the week before. He listened to 2 weeks ago and then last week's, and he goes, 2 weeks ago, you both are saying you're not worried at all. It's not a big deal at all. But you're almost hoping for quarantine.
No, it's gotten worse. I mean, if you go into this week, I mean, the real loser is anybody watch old news clips from like 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, people look like
or
jackasses.
A month ago, or literally 3 weeks ago. Everybody looks like an idiot. It's literally not a big deal.
It's Stephen A on draft night or Stephen A calling the finals. How they have all these amazing highlights of like Mel Kiper calling like not actually, but like calling Joey Bosa a bust, and like all these people being like he's trash.
Yeah,
and those are just the greatest.
It's just retroactive cold takes.
Yeah, I saw someone on Fox got fired.
Why?
Because they were like hardcore. It's like not a big deal, and it's just about impeachment stuff. And then that was 2 weeks ago, and now it's so real that they're like, yeah, you gotta go. You can't.
Yeah.
You kind of knew.
It's like we kind of got to pause the election.
Yeah, we gotta figure this shit out.
We have to figure this stuff out. We're in wartime.
And my second loser.
Yes, I did. E-Singer. I called it.
What?
She's saying I did call it.
There we go. And my second loser are vegans.
Why?
Have you seen this? I've seen this. Have you heard of this?
No.
I saw a bunch of photos of obviously all grocery stores.
We're so blue here.
I know, this is great. We got a little green screen on our YouTube. We're blending into our tiger background.
Yeah.
But I saw all these photos of grocery stores are obviously like all sold out and all the shelves are empty and it looks like Zombieland and stuff. The only food left in just about every grocery store is the vegan section.
Oh.
No, in my mind, vegans in your face. You got all this talk when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
When you actually gotta.
When you have to show up.
When you gotta show up and show out, and you gotta step up to the plate and talk the talk because you've been walking the walk, telling me to drink green shit all this time.
Yeah.
You're leaving the aisles. Who's grabbing the Hot Pockets now, vegans?
Yeah.
Apparently you.
I'm seeing a lot of people.
They're sold out.
I'm seeing a lot of people in like ponchos with dreads.
Yeah.
All of a sudden buying milk.
Buying hot dogs.
Yeah.
And mayonnaise.
Yeah. Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay in your face, vegans.
I got two.
This was put up or shut up time, and they did not put up.
Yeah.
They did not put up.
When it came
it also is probably harder to cook that stuff. So maybe, I'm sure there's plenty of more reasons, but in your face.
When it comes down to it, vegans don't show up. The my loser, I got two. One is me / fans of the McGriddle.
The McGriddle?
Yeah. So this morning, Michaela was like, I'm going to go to McDonald's.
Every day, I'm just going to relay everybody. Every day. Mm-hmm. So Jack's girlfriend Michaela has been staying with us. Every day they get McDonald's for breakfast. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. You guys usually get me a nice coffee.
That's awesome.
I'm very appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
And you get, your what have yous, your McGriddles, your biscuits, your buns.
Mm-hmm.
Every night, and I'm not joking, every night you guys get 2 Domino's pan pizzas.
Not every night. At least every other night because it takes us 2 nights to eat it.
I'd say in 7 days, minimum 5.
We've eaten a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
The pizza, if you guys don't know, is the meat lover's pizza that Domino's has cleverly renamed the pizza. And so I have often said to Michaela, even though it's as a joke, is everything okay? You've hardly touched your pizza. Just because I think that's the funniest.
It's mostly meat.
Ever.
It's more meat than pizza. But my question to you, Jack, is if we're not, like when we get out of quarantine, because you just discovered the pan pizza. Matt kind of introduced Neuheis. Our friend Jack Neuheis was a gigantic pan pizza fan.
It's fantastic.
It's just better pizza. And so Matt kind of pushed it, and then all of a sudden it became this thing. And so it's kind of new for you. When we get out, are you still going pan pizzas every night, or is this a quarantine?
This is a quarantine thing.
But what's different than what would you be eating for dinner if we weren't under quarantine? You know what I'm talking about?
Probably nothing. I don't really eat dinner when I'm at work. The difference is like
I guess it's at work. You're eating your snacks.
Which brings me to my second loser. But anyway, the reason why McGriddles lovers are losers is because Domino's stopped all day breakfast.
You mean McDonald's?
Yeah.
Because of quarantine?
Scared the fuck out of me.
Because of quarantine?
Yeah. Also, you could. Michaela went this morning. You could only get medium coffees. Couldn't get larges. This is. I don't want to.
No, I asked for a medium. I assume she went all mediums because I'd asked for that.
I don't want to incite panic in any way, but that is that freaks me out. But so
as long as nugs and single cheeseburgers are available at McDonald's, we're gonna be all right.
I don't like them rationing.
Neither do I.
That freaks me out.
It's not a good time because McDonald's is kind of big hamburger right there.
I'm hoping it's they're running out of cups.
It's a cups problem.
I'm hoping it's a cups problem. Let's hope it's a cups problem.
Yeah.
My other loser is me again.
Okay.
I'm going fucking insane.
So one loser. Okay.
I'm going. I've gone in the past like 3 days. I'm starting to go really fucking stir crazy. I'm sure a ton of people listening are like, I mean, because we again, I think have like the best of all situations. We have a spacious house. There's plenty of people. There's
good-looking
plenty
guys
of things to do.
Yeah.
Hot dudes. Mustaches, all
plenty
that
of canned soup. No one's touched it, but we got plenty.
We got nothing. I'm
not really in the mood for soup ever.
I don't like soup.
I used to be a soup guy. I'm just not.
Every now and then when we were growing up, Mom would be like, "You want? We're having soup for dinner."
Well, I was a big soup guy growing up.
Yeah, I was always like, "Why?"
Yeah, you were always a bisque man.
I'm a huge bisque
or
guy.
Chowder guy.
Well, chowder and a bisque, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Lobster, bisque, clam, chowder. Tell me what's the difference between those two besides the lobster and the clam. But I'm starting to lose it a little bit.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
Yesterday was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Jack, you had a big time work day. And the in-betweens. It's a lot of the hands on the eyes until someone says something and then you wake up out of it.
Yeah. I don't, it's so weird because it's like, honestly, I think it's exercise. I'm so used to every single morning. I'm a man of routine. That's why I eat the same thing every fucking day.
Yeah.
That's why I keep on telling Michaela, like, you tell me when you don't want pizza. If you ask me, I'll eat the same thing every fucking day. Every morning I go exercise. I can't now, just because you can't go to a gym. So it's like I can run, but it doesn't really do it. So now
I'm thinking every morning. I wake you up. I'm your alarm, and we start fighting and wrestling. And so if we really go at it, obviously, you're in a higher weight class than I am. So
we're not far. I mean, I'll put on a weighted vest to weigh me down a little bit.
That's more weight. Oh, to slow you down.
It won't add to my power. It will. Yeah.
But maybe like a morning sparring sesh, straight out of bed could kind of. That's a little bit of. It's like when people like the vitamin D you need almost, even though it's not.
I'm also starting to feel like the days are blending together.
Oh, they are. Knowing what day it is very difficult now.
Yeah,
it's difficult, and I don't really know the solution. It's just today turns into tomorrow, and there's no reason to know the day.
Yeah,
I don't find myself needing.
Well, I do because of work.
Yeah, but like you have work each day, and I get there's obviously a schedule, but it's just so much less of you're the weekend is still great, but it's not the weekend isn't heaven anymore because you're always here. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just starting to I can it feels like.
I mean, you got a mustache.
The world's closing it. Well, yeah, but the mustache I've had even beforehand. It's nuts. Anyway,
I'm not shaving, by the way.
I know
you can't really tell.
You can't really tell because you got a blonde facial hair, but
I got a blonde mustache, and then it's kind of dark. It's honestly kind of puby underneath. I don't have great facial hair.
Yeah. No, you have great facial hair. It's just blonde.
No, I don't. Jack.
Henry, I'm gonna tell you, do.
Jack.
Dude, I mean, I have hair now.
Yeah, you do.
Look at that guy. Who's this guy?
Look at hair guy.
Is that Jude Law?
Look at hair guy over there.
Jude Law and I have the same hair.
I assume you do actually. You totally do. Will barbershops ever open? I assume all barbershops have completely closed, but I honestly have not looked it up at all.
From what I've seen, they've been closed.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going crazy enough that I'm approaching Mohawk time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be something, Jack.
Welcome to the jungle.
That would really be something.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine though, what it is like for people who live in studio apartments alone? Can you even imagine?
No.
I would be.
Those are the people doing the trick shot videos, doing a million tries to get the CD and the Xbox.
Or even if it was just you and one person. We have this is like an apartment complex, our house. And even then I'm like, walls are closing in.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We're losing our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of losing our minds, America has lost their mind.
Yes, we
have.
And
their hearts on Tiger King. King Tiger, Joe Exotic. We've watched it, I think, a couple times now, right?
Yeah.
It's just good. Yeah. I don't think it's that much better than, I'm forgetting a lot of doc series that have been super popular. I think it's really good. It's really interesting. It's really big because of quarantine.
Yes.
It's that's why.
I think it would have been big regardless.
It would have been big. It would not have been, our parents wouldn't have been talking about it. Both of our family watched Tiger King this week.
Yes.
There's no chance.
I'm rewatching Tiger King.
Exactly. There's no chance our mom and dad would be watching this if it wasn't quarantine.
Last night, Michaela said, "Do you want to watch the last episode of Tiger King?" I said, "Yes."
Said, "Run it." Said, "Absolutely run it."
I said, "I absolutely would love to."
It's shocking how much it's taken over. I mean, all memes now, which is great. I'm loving all of them. TikTok, which we're on TikTok now, and because Pool Boy is on TikTok, I'm on TikTok sometimes, looking through. Still cannot believe how vulgar and suggestive these high school and college girls.
We get suspended, not suspended. We get our stuff taken down all the time.
Jack,
it makes no fucking sense.
The stuff that these people are, and they're not saying it. It's all it's like a prompt. It's like when this happens. I don't even feel comfortable talking on the show.
Yeah, no.
On this pod about they're getting hit in the back. It's choking, really, really gross stuff. And it's sweetheart, dude, your dad's reading the newspaper. I know you're at home right now.
I'll say
you're 19.
That is one benefit of going stir crazy is basically all of my filters are gone.
Yeah,
I'm no filter. This is Jack hashtag no filter.
Hashtag no filter Jack.
Yeah. This is gonna be a really interesting pod to listen to a year from now.
Yeah,
because I can guarantee you too. I'm gonna be like, I don't recognize my own voice.
Yeah.
I
don't remember doing this.
I don't remember.
Henry was hammered the whole time.
Yeah.
No one knew.
Dude, this is the time when, if it was readily available, I'd be like, yeah, I'll try salvia. Wait, you have meth there? Okay.
I mean, I'm not leaving my house. It's the safest time to do it.
I want to go. I want to. That's a way to leave your house by staying inside.
Yeah, seriously. Going a little nature walk with some sweet Mary Jane and a little bit of the streets powder. Some of our roommates have been nightcapping it. Some of our roommates that will I told Mikey last night I'm gonna start nightcapping it.
Yeah, I'm holding off on that. I don't want to make that a habit.
We have booze though. It makes it so easy.
We have a ton, but I want to hold off on because you know what happens next. That's when
start morning capping.
Well, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. But I think that's Jake Owen's song. But and also when we went fishing that one time, our fishing instructor said that when I was like, I'm gonna have a beer. I know it's 5 a.m. and he was like, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. I was like, you're a really cool guy.
Yeah.
And then he got mad at me because I had a banana, and he was like, that's bad luck fishing.
And then I was mad at me. You're not that cool of a guy.
And I was like, take it easy.
You're
guy.
a nut job.
Take it easy, guy. Show us how to fish. If I have a beer or two a night, that's how I start having a beer or two every night. And then quarantine ends, and I'm like, I really miss my beer or two a night.
Yeah.
And then
Mikey got Coors Heavies to make it easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tiger King is absolutely everywhere. It's just so big, and it's entertaining as fuck. It's the best cast of characters, best crew of characters I've ever seen in a doc, and it's not even close.
Ever.
And the fact it's a mix of true crime and almost just kind of like a crazy reality TV setup and tigers. It's just kind of the perfect concoction.
Yeah.
It's like Jersey Shore meets Making a Murderer meets fucking Blackfish. I just nailed that.
And tigers.
I just nailed that. But yeah, we're gonna go through it. First, so we're gonna cast the movie.
That's what we're doing.
We're excited to do it. But before we do that, let's just go through thoughts and takeaways on this doc.
I'm going to the wide, and I'm gonna put up. We're gonna find Joe.
Do you want to cast first, or you want to talk about it first?
No, I just want to put Joe. We can talk about it.
Okay.
But I want to be in the wide for this. There we go. So this is Tiger King. So that's the Tiger King. His name's Joe Exotic. So I watched this in weird order. I watched it bits and pieces as other people were watching it, and then I what happened was I didn't know where I was, and so I would start at episode 3, and I watched 3.
The episodes
6.
are very different, but they blend in because the picture for all of them are tigers.
Yeah.
So you don't really know.
And yeah, it's all kind of vague, and also the same thing sort of happens every time. But I sort of watched it Pulp Fiction style, where I started in the middle, then watched the second scene. And then I watched the end, and then I ended with the very beginning.
I ended with the beginning. I went through the end because I had missed people who were watching the first one, and then I rewatched the first one.
It makes a lot more sense.
It makes more sense. It doesn't really matter. You got crazy people. The biggest questions I have on this, and what the first thing you just have to understand when you turn it on are apparently anyone can just buy tigers.
Yes, it's very easy to do.
Anyone can just start a zoo.
Yes,
and you don't need any schooling or training at all to own, operate, and work with these big cats.
If you're in one of the states where it's freedom.
But
I'm sure in California they're going to tax the fuck out of you.
I guess that's what it's just state by state, and I'm not realizing this is Oklahoma, South Carolina,
Texas,
Florida, Texas. But still, even in those states, that's just nuts. I've seen Blackfish a handful of times. Blackfish is awesome about the killer whales at SeaWorld. And what's happening with the whales, it's terrible, and obviously that got shut down because of the documentary. But the people with them are extremely trained.
Yeah.
The people with them are pros. The guys who are doing flips and shit and taking care of them.
Yeah.
These guys,
and you'd be shocked.
I think we know more about tigers than these guys.
They are more comfortable with a tiger than I am with a dog.
100%, dude.
They are going in.
I am shocked at how comfortable they are around these things. When every now and then, you see it in the doc, it bites the chick's arm off. He gets his foot bit. Multiple times they're getting attacked by these things, and it seems like it's out of nowhere.
I read an AMA of a guy that used to work there, and interesting. It was interesting. What he was basically saying is, when he gets his foot bit, that scene isn't exactly what it looks like.
What do you mean?
Basically, he gets his foot bit. You think that the tiger's attacking him. What's more likely is that he was feeding another animal. They think because he was there at the time.
He spilled some shit on his shoe, right?
He spilled some shit on his shoe. The tiger was attacking it. And when they're nobody goes in to help him, it's nobody, they said Joe would have freaked out if anybody had gone in to help him. Because if somebody had gone in, then
it becomes an attack situation.
Then it's an issue because it's somebody who probably isn't trained to deal with that.
Not that any of them are trained, but yeah.
The most trained person is probably the person who's on the fence. Holding the fence, and that person can't go in because you risk the tigers getting out. And it's Joe would have lost it at anybody who would have gone in to help him. He had it. He had his gun. He just shot it, and they went away. The guns in this thing are also insane.
Dude,
this whole thing is nuts.
The amount they're pointing guns at people is just crazy. But also, I love that in that scene where Joe gets his Fitbit, they show Carole, and she's laughing about it. Where no one helped him. Basically, all his people hate him. And then she was explains, he said someone put something on his shoe. I mean, I don't even know what you would put on your shoe. I mean, maybe sardine oil. And I was well, that's pretty goddamn specific, Carole.
Yeah. By the way, I'm realizing us talking about it is going to take 6 hours.
Oh, no, we're doing the highlights.
Yeah.
We'll at a certain point, we'll just cut it off.
Because there's so much that happens.
Oh, there's a million stuff. The big questions in my mind are, everyone's what team are you? You got Joe Exotic, you got Doc Antle, who are kind of on the same team.
Yeah.
Then you got Carole and her dead husband and her new husband. And then you got the guy in Miami, whatever. So it's kind of what team are you on? I don't think we're on a team. I'm just anti-Carole.
I'm Team Joe.
I'm not necessarily Team Joe.
I support Joe Exotic.
I like him. I'm Team Doc Antle.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they're both kind of together.
Okay, so if they're together, I'm on their side versus Carole because I just think Carole. I don't get.
I think there are 3 teams. I think it's Joe, and he's with like Doc Antle and
Miami guy
and Mario in Miami.
Scarface.
And then you have Carole, and then you have Jeff. And Jeff's against Joe.
Oh,
and
Jeff
Carol's
Lowe.
against
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah. Well, Jeff Lowe is the definition of shady.
Yeah,
like that in my mind.
And you can't really, say why. It's just like you're not blinking.
What a shady guy.
Yeah.
Just seems kind of scary. I don't know how he got his money. The Carole thing, a thing that they did not do well in the documentary. Maybe it was intentional. How is her place any different than their places? I never understood.
It's not. It's
like she still makes money, right?
She's just like a worse zookeeper. She just has like a worse
looks like
zoo.
She has a super shitty zoo.
Yeah. She makes a ton of money. And she has all volunteers.
And they all work for free. No, that episode is insane when she's basically criticizing him for not paying anybody. And it's like everyone she works for her is for free. And she basically admits she doesn't know who any of them are.
No. She's like, I don't know you until you've been around for years. And I'm like, I see you around all the time.
Yeah. And I get it because basically, in my mind, the big lesson in this documentary is people fucking love tigers, man. People love tigers. People are going to work for free to work with tigers or work in crazy conditions and give their whole life and be the 5th wife to Doc Antle.
Dude,
tigers are sick.
I want to play with the tiger cubs so bad.
Dude, tigers are sweet. And then
also, Nolan says Doc Antle is definitely fucking his cats.
I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past the cats fucking him as well.
Although he only has so much man in him, man stuff in him, and he has like 6 wives, so I don't really know how he is.
Yeah, how he's spreading the wealth.
Yeah.
But boy, tigers, I mean, another big part of the doc, obviously, was Joe had 2 husbands. I love that everyone in this animal world has multiple husbands and wives.
It's a polygamous world.
It's nuts.
That's the thing, too, that you realize is that everybody who's in this big cat game, they're all the same person.
Yeah, it really seems like it.
They're all polygamous. They're all incredibly aggressive. They all have a ton of weapons, love explosive, love go-karts, all that shit. And they're all really
and they're also mostly doing it for sex.
They're mostly
That's what it seems like.
It sounds the way that they're pitching it is like, honestly, if you have a baby tiger, you can have sex with anybody you want.
You can just get laid.
And I would love to see
I buy
if that
it,
works
by the
on
way,
me.
dude. I buy it.
I would love to see that works on me too.
Like they joke in the thing where it's like Joe was married to 2 straight dudes and he seduced them with meth and tigers. I'm a pretty straight guy, Jack.
Yeah.
I've never been around. I've never imagined petting a tiger on meth.
I'm wondering if I would. I'm straight. I'm wondering if I would fuck Joe.
That might do it.
If you'd be like, I have this tiger, but you have to.
You're high on meth and you're cuddling with the tiger. And then he says, hey, let's go. I'm like, I don't know, man. This has been pretty sick.
This is pretty cool.
It's been pretty dope.
I'm turned on by the raw power of this tiger.
I mean, Travis is a man, dude. Travis is a good-looking dude. Travis is I don't know why he ended up in Oklahoma doing that. The guy should have been on the beach scoring chicks. Yeah. But, boy, just everything in this documentary. The fact that Joe had 2 husbands and the fact that one of them is this tall, I'd say gigantic. He was a massive dude.
He's 6'6".
Good-looking guy, young guy.
Very handsome.
And then one of them is this toothless
John Finley. Well,
John Finley. He got
meth mouth.
Loves pink camo.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Both are straight, by the way. Both marry him and are straight. Because of meth and tigers.
Let's get
hell of a combo.
Let's get casting in one sec.
Yeah.
Because we can just go through all the characters and talk about the characters as we cast them. My one big other takeaway just on the show itself was I thought the worst episode by far and like the least entertaining stuff was all of the Joe for Governor stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
They also didn't really cover it.
It was like ep 4 or 5. It was all about Joe running for governor and president.
Yeah.
I lost interest at that point. I only want to talk about the Tigers.
Also, time sort of overlaps a little bit there because apparently when he was running for governor and stuff, that was during the fallout with Jeff Lowe. Like later on when they show the fallout with Jeff Lowe, they're like, meanwhile, or that was during the Hitman.
The timeline was shady or shaky.
Yeah.
Like the time, you're right, because now that I'm thinking back to it, it's like at one point they're like, oh, and they hate each other?
Yeah.
I was like, when did that happen?
But during that like whole timeline of, when they were later talking about like the feds were investigating him, they're like, yeah, so the whole time he's running for governor and he's under investigation.
Yeah, that was confusing.
And it's like, what?
That was confusing. But let's get into casting, and then we'll just, you can't not talk about the characters as we cast this thing. I think we start with Joe?
I think we start with Joe. I think we're going to pause for 1 second. I need to grab something real quick.
Sure.
I just need like literally any food really quick. I'm fucking dying.
Jack's getting a snacky. Joe Exotic. What a guy. The hair in this show is pretty hilarious as well. Obviously, Joe has a pretty gnarly mullet that's different colored, and the handlebar mustache adds to it. But Jeff Lowe having a wig that gives himself a ponytail is odd. I didn't realize that. I thought that was real hair until they show him in jail, and he's completely bald. Yeah. That was odd. Alrighty. Starting with Joe. It went super viral that Dak Shepard had tweeted, like, if I don't play Joe Exotic, something's wrong with Hollywood. Yeah. And everyone was like, oh my God, totally.
I get it.
I totally get it. I've heard some better ones. I think David Spade is the best I've heard.
As Joe Dirt.
Or basically,
as Joe Dirt's similar.
Basically. Because David Spade's always had like kind of a gay character. He has that voice that he does in Grandma's Boy and everything else. And I just think he would sell the fuck out of it. It's all energy. I feel like Joe's one of those guys that wakes up at 5 a.m. without a cup of coffee and you know, like he's an engine.
Well, he takes a little hit of meth and then he's on it. But it depends on what type of movie you're trying to make. Because if you're trying to make like hard comedy, David Spade. If you're trying to make like a kind of like a little bit better of a movie, but still a comedy,
is it almost Pain and Gain? Is that what this movie would be like?
The other option I've heard is
what?
Ed Norton.
I heard that too.
Murder this.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's just because like Ed Norton's a sick actor. Like you could be like Leo. Funny. I guess he's funny.
Also, face shape.
You need the long face. You need the longer face.
I mean, he looks like David Spade.
Yeah, I would go David Spade. Who else is let's keep going.
All right, so next we have... Give me 1 second, guys.
No worries. He, his style evolution...
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
His style evolution in the doc is pretty fantastic. I was shocked the first episode.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Look like.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
There we go. All right, now John Finlay.
So John Finlay's the toothless, bald boyfriend. John Finlay, who did we say for him?
John Finlay, we were saying like Zac Efron. We were also saying Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum could totally play.
So Channing Tatum would be my pick for sure.
Yeah.
Based on face shape and stuff, and I think Channing Tatum's willing
to ears.
Be funny and sell out like this.
Yeah.
John Finlay, first episode, you're like, who the fuck is this guy? What a terrifying... It's like, that's what I picture when it's like Deliverance, or it's like you're in the woods and you find a cabin of some guys that have been there too long and they're real fucked up, and you know what I mean? Like, it's like that's who he is. By the end, I think John Finlay's one of the more logical, sane guys there was around.
The guy gets it. And he's
doesn't have a temper. He's very calm and collected.
I think he's pretty clean now. That's why.
Seemed to tell the truth on stuff. He was like, he clearly does not like Joe anymore. And he multiple times was like, no, Joe didn't do that. Like Joe, like I was shocked that he kind of was the voice of reason. Him and the guy without legs.
So, sorry. I literally, because there's no McGriddles, I didn't eat today. This happens all the time. I just forget to eat. Anyway, John Finlay and a lot of these guys, it all seems like, they turned quickly on Joe. I think that what happened, and they sort of imply it, is that all of them know that they've done a bunch of illegal shit. And basically the Fed said, be a witness, turn on Joe, or you're going to jail. And they all were like, I'm not fucking going to jail.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think so, too.
Because that's why, like, Ranky, like, all of Joe's most loyal people, there wasn't a moment when they were like, and they all were kind of like, yeah, I think he was framed. But if he's...
The dude without legs is the only guy who didn't testify. I think that's because he's the only one without a big record.
Yeah.
Because he was like, why didn't they want to talk to me? And it's like, why didn't they want to talk to you? You were kind of his right-hand man.
Yeah.
But instead, they go to John Finlay and the long-haired dude. But yeah, I like Channing Tatum for John Finlay. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, Channing Tatum, boom. And then we move on to John Ranke.
Who's legless guy without legs.
Matthew McConaughey is the best person I've seen.
I think Matthew McConaughey would be awesome. He, the fact that they gloss over him losing his legs in a ziplining accident.
That's one of the funniest moments of the entire documentary.
Dude, and what an insane thing. And then his story just doesn't make sense. He falls, like shatters his legs, which I totally get. Like I know people that's happened to, or I know people of people. And then he kept on walking on him, and then he got his legs removed.
You know what also really describes...
He just loved tigers too much.
The type of people and where they live and what they're doing is this guy lives in a trailer.
Yeah.
But have you seen he has multiple cars that are all like souped up, really fucking expensive.
Yeah,
nice
what
cars.
they decide to spend their money on, it's either tigers or like go-karts.
And they eat like terrible food.
Matt pointed out to me before I noticed, holy shit, anytime they show them preparing food, it's either always, it's like banana mustard sandwich. Or not banana, bologna mustard sandwich. It's a lot of hot dogs, varieties of hot dog.
I love
meals.
bologna mustard sandwich, actually.
Bologna's delicious. I'm a bologna
We're
believer.
huge bologna people.
But I don't eat it a lot. Neither do you.
No.
You know?
I don't trust the circle.
It just, these are the people, they're used to eating spoiled meat from Walmart. I think eventually bologna is a tenderloin, you know?
Yeah.
When you're eating 2-week-old, you know,
also,
spare
it's like,
ribs.
wow, we're busting it out.
Yeah,
but they can't spend that much because they're spending so much to feed the tigers and to buy their like go-karts and shit.
Yeah,
and their ATVs.
And
like they're always, every one of them, they show them like, you know, B-roll of them like loading their ATV onto their Ford F-150.
Yeah, it's full of guns.
And then they cut to them and they're wearing like 28-year-old jeans. So where's your money going?
Their allocation of funds is interesting. Who's next?
Next we got this guy. I love this guy.
So the campaign manager was pretty funny.
We all know this guy.
We all know this guy. My biggest thought, the guy was complaining the whole time. And I wanted to go, dude, why did you stay there for 3 fucking years or whatever it was? Like long after the election stuff, he was still there.
Also, could he look less like a guy who belonged in that thing?
The opposite. That's why I'm like, how did he end up in this world? I know they said he met Joe at a bar or something, and he was obviously the one that saw Travis accidentally kill himself, which is so insane. That we haven't even talked about that yet. In any other doc, that you make a whole documentary about that, about a guy accidentally popping himself.
And it makes absolute sense how it happened because they show throughout the entire documentary, people are pointing loaded guns at other people and
joking around.
And the people that they're pointing the guns at are like, "You're crazy."
Even the cameraman, they're just pointing them at a cameraman, and then he'll turn and shoot. Where it's like, so safety was off. You had your finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
You hear a bird or a dog bark or a tiger do something.
They're just shooting.
Yeah, they're shooting.
And then they're going and buying more ammo. And I mean, when he's buying
guns,
blowing
like, shit up too.
You want explosives today? And the guy's like, "Yeah,
yeah, I do."
It just gives them more explosives.
Again, you can just go buy explosives. Things I'm learning.
They're in their studio inside, and he has the Carole doll, and he shoots her inside.
Yeah.
The noise alone.
It could have been avoided, Jack. Hindsight
being 2020.
Hindsight being 2020, I think we could have done it better.
And I get why you need to have the guns there. There are tigers there.
Oh, yeah,
if
I get it.
If a tiger gets out and attacks someone, you got to shoot that tiger.
They talked about it real quick. I got to rewatch the doc. It's just awesome.
By the way, this is why I'm also Team Joe, because it's like I love animals, and I'm all for animal rights 1,000,000%. And this might be the most controversial opinion I've ever said on the podcast, maybe. But like the people in the comments who are literally acting like they're committing genocide, and it's like they do so much worse stuff to people in the documentary.
Yeah.
They show the tigers, like, actually, you know what? The saddest part of the whole thing, when I rewatched the last episode, do you see the part when he talks about the chimpanzees?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
But that also makes me like Joe, because it's like, oh yeah, you're like a really sweet guy. You didn't realize what you were doing.
He's a sweet nut job.
He's insane.
Because he's doing all this stuff where he's talking about killing Carole and blowing up her and talking about putting her head in a jar. And then it's like, no, I do think he cares about the animals more than the other people.
I do too.
I do think, I don't know if he cares more about them than like people at zoos.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't. But
well, that's how we got into it. He just loves tigers.
He just loves tigers.
I'm doing the
He doesn't. He doesn't. But the campaign manager guy has the best line in the whole thing when he's like, "Well, I'm a libertarian, so technically, fuck the feds."
And he's like, "So the feds called me. It was an insane day."
He's such a fucking nerd.
Yeah,
it's insane. Who do we cast for him?
I think Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill's a pretty good one.
But I think
Beck from SNL could be him too.
Yeah,
from Good Neighbor stuff.
Yeah, I think so as well.
This movie's happening. Then you got Mario. You got the guy that Scarface was apparently based off of, who doesn't even run a zoo. This was also very confusing for me.
No, he owns basically a zoo, but it's just for himself.
He just owns a private
How
zoo.
Baller is that?
How does this guy? Everyone else has all these animals, and they're all relying on people seeing these animals to pay for it all. This guy seems like the wealthiest of all of them.
It's like when you have a bowling alley in your house, and you're like, "Holy shit, you're rich!" Except he went one step further, and it's like, you know that thing you like to go to sometimes?
Yeah,
I just have one.
So I got a lot of questions about this guy. We did not spend enough time with Scarface dude. One, how do you get out of jail? I thought when you like chop up a dude's body and you do all the stuff that they said he did, is that not life? What's life in prison?
I think he made so much money. I think he basically bought it. He still bought his way out.
He was burying money.
I think he's quietly Pablo Escobar.
I mean, he must still be doing something illegal, because I don't think you can have a day job.
You know those scenes though in like Blow and all those drug movies when they show them like literally
Oh, they're always burying money. You need to bury money.
They're like throwing money away
always burying
because
money.
they have so much money.
Yeah, you
and
have
they literally
to.
like, we don't have room in the house. The house is filled with money.
Yeah, gotta.
I think he had enough that he kind of got his way out, and like he still had enough left over where it's like, yeah, you have a lifetime's worth of.
Yeah, you can buy a zoo. It's the what We Bought a Zoo was based off of.
Yes.
They went PG with it.
Yeah, they went very PG. I don't know if we came up with somebody here, although I'm kind of seeing.
I think the dude from The Mandalorian, but again, this is probably racist. I'm just picking someone that kind of looks
I kind of
like him.
see a Ben Mendelsohn too. I think he kind of has a similar face to that. Let's keep going though. This guy, is Ed
the
Harris.
documentarian was another interesting character.
Yeah.
Because I think he was the only guy who really saw it for what it was, which is a great reality show. Like he got fucked and that all their stuff got burned, and I don't really understand exactly why the reality show didn't happen. But like he was ahead of the game. He basically made this documentary, but 8 years ago or whatever it was. That would have been a hit show.
Yeah.
Joe Exotic is a serious reality TV character.
I think he just wasn't quite good enough to make it.
He also just seems like if anyone is so into their look and their character that you like, he had his hat, his Indiana Jones hat, and anytime they showed him anywhere he had that hat, it's like, okay, you're kind of doing this for you, my man.
Did you see the part when they're sort of going over his history though?
He was like a legit reporter.
Yeah, they're like, in 60 Minutes, like, you obviously know Rick Kirkman.
Oh yeah, no, it seems like a legit dude.
Yeah.
And then I think he kind of went cowboy with it, and it wasn't the right decision.
I think he's definitely Ed Harris. I think
from Westworld, the
Yeah.
Man in Black.
Mhm.
I buy it. Same hat.
Sort of like maybe a good guy, but very intense.
He was a good interview.
Saf is the hardest person to cast because there really isn't an actress. She's trans. Or sorry, he's trans.
So Saf is but
it goes back and forth throughout. Where like half of like the people are calling him she, and it's
the timeline's all messed up.
It's super ambiguous of like, well,
but
wait,
this is the person who got their arm bit off in the cage.
Yeah.
Is Saf, which is a gnarly part of the doc that they do talk about. Not long enough.
No,
they should have gone through every person that they interviewed and say, tell me a crazy story about someone, because I know that's not the only time this has happened. I want to go Doc Antle. Tell me something nuts about a time you saw an elephant fucking rip a guy in half or something.
Here's the other part of it too is like she just comes right back to work.
Yeah. Well, I think she knew it was completely her fault.
Yeah.
So she probably still could have sued him. I mean, she could have taken him down.
That's where also the great meme
she could have taken him down.
I don't know if you guys have seen the meme, but it's just Joe Exotic, and he just goes, I'm never going to financially recover from this.
That was a really honest, true statement. That was like a fuck. Like, I just know.
Can you imagine being in the gift shop waiting when he comes in and goes, hey guys,
yeah, he was a little harsh about it.
Tour is canceled today. Before you find out in the news, one of my employees just stuck their arm in a cage and got their arm ripped off.
It's like, bro, there's a way you could have done that. You could have handled that with a little bit more.
But he's just trying to get out there and he goes, so I can give you your money back or we can do a rain check?
Yeah, rain check.
Whatever you guys want.
I would be looking around like, am I going to get fucking eaten by a tiger?
Yeah.
People that work here are getting their arms ripped off. Am I safe?
Also, I don't get what he did to get the arm ripped off.
He stuck his arm in a cage. He was a complete. They go around it. I watched. So David Spade interviewed him, and
David Spade.
Yeah. So like David Spade interviewed just about everybody on from the doc this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to see that.
And he did from his house. It's like webcam stuff. But Jeff Lowe, everybody. But he interviewed him, Saf, who got his arm ripped off. And she stuck her arm in the cage. You're supposed to have a pole that you put the meat in. You don't ever put your arm in the cage.
She was holding the meat?
She stuck her whole fucking arm in the cage.
Okay.
Like I think the reason why she came back so quickly and everything, one, he seems chill as fuck.
Also loves the Tigers.
So chill, loves the Tigers. But at the same time, it's like, this was completely and entirely your fault. You know better and you should have done better. And she basically says that to David Spade, where she's like, it was more than an oversight. I completely fucked up.
Yeah. There isn't really an actor.
I don't know anyone that looks like.
Because there's nobody really on type. This is a very specific person.
Vanessa Hudgens. Keep going.
Maybe. Travis. Travis is who a lot of people are going to be fighting for this role.
Yeah, that's a hot younger guy role.
Yeah. I mean, Travis is a handsome dude.
He was a very handsome guy with the biggest gosh darn hands you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. Size 16 foot.
It's size 16 foot.
He's got a big one.
who do we say from? I think young Ashton Kutcher is exactly what he looks like.
Is what we're going for.
Just maybe like a high school linebacker version of the Kutch man.
Outside of that, it's like Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes. Just got to be Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. I think Harry Styles.
They just got to put on muscle. He was a big man. I don't want some skinny, Timothy Chalamet walking in expecting Oscar Gold, because it's a great opportunity.
Alyssa Bloomberg just said, "I'm losing it." I'm with you. All right. This guy. Well, the reason why we're doing this is because he's Creed Bratton.
So what's this guy's name? The guy who's
Alan
the hitman.
Glover.
So Alan Glover, who's
the guy's the creepiest human being you've ever seen.
The hitman that worked with Jeff Lowe, and that was the one who was sent to kill Carole. Yeah. He's a terrifying human. He's one of those guys. He doesn't have hair, but he just kind of looks like a salamander. It doesn't look like there ever was hair there.
No,
I don't think there ever was hair on his head.
Yeah.
He's like an alien or some shit. But he says some things. He's the biggest one where you're going, how the fuck are you not in jail?
Dude, he says, like, I
told him I'd rip her fucking head off, bring it back to him.
He says, I'll cut her head off.
And then he gives a look like, I know, right? Crazy. Where it's like, nah, dude.
You know what's funny, too, is when I rewatched it, I noticed that his whole story is that he blacked it the fuck out. I think he's making it up.
Yeah.
But when they're like, did you go to Florida? He says, like, apparently I never went to Florida. He doesn't remember.
Yeah, why does he say apparently? A lot of the times he says, because he's very hard to understand.
Because he was like, I was doing a lot of cocaine. I was drinking a lot. He's like, so I don't remember any of it.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize. I just thought he was just kind of trying to. He was just a dumbass and he couldn't really speak very well because multiple times he says something where it's like, are you unsure? I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what he's saying, it's like, are you unsure of what happened?
But then even if that's the case, though, did he not just confess to a DUI?
I think he totally did.
Because he drove somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to really be looking at that kind of thing. But what a terrifying human. Creed Bratton, though, I think he nailed it from The Office.
He has the mystery of Creed Bratton, too, where like every now, I wouldn't be shocked if he was like, yeah, I spent like 20 years in Sweden. Like, now this one is the one that everybody knows because apparently they're already making a movie and Kate McKinnon is playing her, which
so
works.
It's Carole and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Carole, Kate McKinnon, that makes perfect sense besides the age because her voice it sounds like a Kate McKinnon impression. It's so robotic.
You know what Michaela said?
What?
She sounds like Hillary Clinton too.
She
like,
does.
Listen to Hillary,
She kind of looks like Hillary Clinton, dude.
Mm-hmm. Hillary Clinton should play her.
And then I think her husband, who's the biggest soft-served beta
he's the
husband
biggest
of all time.
Sub of all time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just learned the word simp. Apparently that, I'm not sure what, I think I know what that means, and I think that's what we would call him.
I think he's a simp.
I say Jeff Goldblum for the husband. Just kind of looks like him.
I like that.
Just kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
But boy, she was lucky she had him. He's the one who took Joe Exotic down.
Sup, Jack O'Brien.
He was the one smart enough to fucking be like, let's just get lawyers and take all his money.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? And then he was like in mediation. Like, he's the reason that she won.
All of the animal world people they barely can read.
Yeah. And then this guy walks in.
And I think it's as simple as it's almost like everybody else is like your grandparents where like they don't understand the internet and you're just like a normal kid who's like, yeah, I'm just going to open up this window and they're like, what? And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to organize these files.
Even I saw a thing online. I think we were talking about this, that Carole's story of how she met her first husband that she murdered is she was like got in a fight with her husband, was walking down the street and he like pulled over and like said, are you okay? And she got in the car with him. Yeah. She was a prostitute who got in the car with a wealthy old man who was picking up a whore.
Yeah.
Picking up a hooker.
According to people in Tampa, it's like, no, that
street that's prostitute street.
The street she was walking on is like it's
like Green Street. She was on Green Street.
Red light district, basically.
Yeah, basically. Mm-hmm. So it's like Carole, I don't think Carol's not a hero. I came out of this very anti-Carole.
I think Carol's the worst of all of them.
You know what's so funny is that is definitely, I think, what the majority of people, their thoughts coming out of this thing. And I'm sure she thought that she was going to come out looking like the Tiger Queen.
Michaela and I have had some debates because she is Team Carole. And I'm like, how?
Yeah, it's shocking to me.
How?
She's just so unlikable. What an unlikable, just an annoying, frustrating person.
She's also killed her husband.
Yeah.
She's clearly a psychopath.
By the way, we almost needed another ep on that. That whole ep was the best ep. Should we spend a lot of quarantine basically converting ourselves to being like an investigation pod? Maybe.
I'm down.
Because I mean, like, God.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Dylan. This is another one people will be fighting for. Basically, the people.
Joe Exotic's third husband, who's the only guy I don't understand.
He's so in love with Joe, it seems.
Travis and Toothless Guy.
Yeah.
You marry Joe again for the Tigers and the meth, which again I understand. It's a pretty sweet combo.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. This guy, doesn't Joe have no tigers? Joe has no meth.
This guy humanizes Joe too because he seems normal.
Dude, he's like 20, right?
And he loves Joe so much, and him being in jail breaks his heart so much that I'm like, there's a side of Joe we're not seeing.
There must be.
He's like, he's such an affectionate man. I would just hug him. I was like, what?
I totally get
Joe Exotic?
Travis was high for like 6 years, and Toothless Guy is Toothless Guy.
Yeah.
Dylan Passage, what are you doing? Apparently he's just a man in love.
Yeah,
there we go.
This is basically the guys who are going to try out for Travis that don't get it. They'll be like
5 years ago. This would have been Josh Hutcherson.
I think Josh could still do it. He looks like he's 12.
Josh Hutcherson does not age. No. He looks like a young man,
and he's a quiet 5'4".
He's a tiny man. Hunger Games miscast.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Doc Antle, I think, is Will Ferrell.
I think So I think Will Ferrell is perfect for Doc Antle. I think he's the best character in the whole thing.
Totally.
I think that the doc should have just been about him, but he just hasn't gotten into a ton of controversy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They end the doc with Doc Antle being like his place was raided. I looked it up. His place was raided for something completely else, something completely different. He
like
never got charged. Fraud. Yeah, it was like something completely different. He never got charged, never got whatever. Is anyone living the life more than Doc Antle in the world?
No, he has it figured out.
He's financially successful.
He's a cult leader.
Like Joe is constantly trying to stay afloat. Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Doc is, it seems like, wildly wealthy.
Wildly wealthy, and he has
3 wives.
He is
they all have their own houses on the zoo.
Dynamic pricing.
Yeah.
Like planes. If a lot of people want to see the Tigers that day, the price goes up.
They showed a family that did. I don't want to say they didn't look of means, but look middle class. You know, nothing. Didn't have a lot of money, and they're talking about this is like the 3rd time they came this week. Tickets are like $700 a pop.
Yeah, and they're
spending like $8,000 or a couple grand on this fucking.
You know what I love is just knowing from playing travel baseball and stuff. They were there for a softball tournament because it's in Myrtle Beach, and the guys.
We went to Myrtle Beach all the goddamn time.
The guys are
I couldn't believe I've never been there.
Right?
I was shocked when I found this was in Myrtle Beach.
I bet you would be like, one thing we could do on the day off is we could all see the Tigers.
I'm sure parents must have been against that or something.
But the guy is softball dad, and it's like you were clearly there for a softball tournament.
That makes a ton of sense because there's not a lot of Myrtle Beach is a lot of fun. Not a lot of reasons to go unless you're going to the beach or you're there for a sporting tournament.
Elena says Steve Martin. I could also see Steve Martin doing it.
Doc's just such a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Doc's not in better shape.
I'm surprised all of these guys aren't in better shape.
It seems like they're running around. It's very physical work. Doc has
they're constantly
cult slaves. So Doc doesn't do much, I don't think, besides put on a goddamn show.
They make a good point though when they're like, oh, it's a 24/7 job because if you don't feed the Tigers don't get fed. Like there's not like a day off.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And there aren't it's
like having 150 dogs that are 10 times as big.
And you can't have somebody house sit the Tigers.
No. Even though I'm sure they have.
Yeah. I'd love to babysit a tiger.
Are you a baby tiger? Are you kidding me?
Dude, I'm close to
incredible.
I'm close to buying a baby tiger.
It'd be incredible.
I don't know.
Who's next?
All right, this guy was so wrong.
I don't even know this guy's name. The dude with the blonde hair. There's a dude that worked for Joe that had super long blonde hair that was real feathered. Like he took care of it. The guy spent time, with product and conditioner. Who found it on Craigslist. He was the guy.
They all did that. They all were like, I went to pet a bear.
He's the first guy where I was like, you just walked in and started feeding tigers? And then they have him at the park, instructing people on how to approach a tiger. Boy, I'm sure anyone who ever visited that park watched the stock and was like, thank God I didn't get my arm bit off.
Dude, they show all the celebrities. Shaq came.
I think Shaq apologized recently. All these people are doing it. I don't think you need to apologize. They're not torturing and I think the main thing is you just shouldn't feel that safe because these people are not professionals.
It's one thing I read too is they're ripping the tigers from their mothers when they're born. Apparently it's yes, in the wild, never do that ever. That would be so fucked up. In captivity, you have to, because one, there's always a chance that the father or a male will try to kill them to get the mom back in heat.
What does in heat mean?
Ready to make babies again.
Gotcha.
Which happens, I think, across the animal kingdom. It's
don't they just eat them sometimes?
They just eat them. So it's you have to get it away to be protective.
So at a certain point, this is okay.
Well, no, exactly. The one thing I read was no. You kind of everybody has to do this. You have to and then the other thing is it will make the mom, if you don't, insanely aggressive. And then the other thing is most of these cages aren't equipped to keep baby tigers in because they aren't
See, the things you don't know that the doc doesn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure there's so much stuff where you watch and you're like, oh, that makes more sense.
One of my biggest takeaways, it ends with the really, there are 5 to 10,000 tigers in the U.S., less than 4,000 in the wild. Mm-hmm. And I was like, is that not a good thing? We're not stealing them from the jungle. We're just breeding them here so we have more, also keeping them alive.
If they're in danger, don't we want to make more?
Exactly. It'd be one thing if we're going in and we're stealing tigers from the jungle to put them in these zoos.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case.
No.
Who's next?
Next we have Jeff, who is an iconic character.
Captain Shady Jeff. He was so terrible to his wife. That scene was so uncomfortable when he's like, she's going to have the baby and then get back in the gym, right? And then this is the nanny I'm going to fuck.
And he
what
literally,
the hell?
I mean,
who are you people?
You know what I was thinking? Can you imagine being that nanny?
No.
Can you imagine being that woman?
No.
Holy shit.
This
guy's like, yeah, I'm getting her because she looks good. It's like, what?
Yeah. I hope the interview that was brought up, that sex is a mandatory part of the job.
It sure sounds
seems
like
it's most of the job. They didn't seem to quite care about the woman's experience with taking care of newborns.
Oh, I just saw Esinger said Daniel Craig could be an interesting.
I like
Jeff
Daniel
Lowe.
Craig
In fact,
as Jeff Lowe.
Knowing him and Logan Lucky, I think Daniel Craig is the only option.
I think that's the winner.
Thank you, Elena.
Worst goatee I've ever seen. Jeff Lowe.
Like he shaved it too high up.
It's too thin. It's too high up. It's too thin. It's too everything.
Like the goatee is supposed to go. And me as a man who knows facial hair clearly.
Yeah. Who's next?
Next we have.
Oh, there we go.
We're missing one.
We missed Lauren, but I think that was it.
Yeah.
Jeff's wife, who is Sophia Turner. Or Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
Done.
She'll get every redhead role for the next 5 years until a new one comes.
Not a lot of redheads.
I
think that's the pod.
I think that's the pod too.
Good stuff.
We'll be back next week for
sure. Still here. We'll be back.
Dude, get ready. If nothing changes in the next week, get ready for, I don't know what we're going to be like.
It's going to be interesting. Might be a shirtless pod. Might be smoking cigarettes.
You guys want a shirtless pod?
Might be smoking cigarettes.
I might be. I'm so close to just ripping heaters.
I'm close to drinking Gatorade on ice. That's how nuts I'm going, you know?
That's psycho.
There's nothing better than Gatorade on ice, but you don't do it because it's like, I'm not going to fill a glass with ice and pour Gatorade. It seems like just drink your Gatorade. That's the level.
That's where we are.
I'm done. We done?
We love all of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks, Jobin.
Kick it.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
I'm so tired.